Hello and welcome to today's topic. My name is Promise Odera Onu. Today we are looking at corruption eradication and the role of armed forces in it. We always look at Nigeria and trying to provide solutions to these topics based on the best practices in the world. How does other countries fight corruption? What's the role of armed forces? Now, for a civilian government, there is always a military government working hand in hand. If the military government or the military of that particular government is not corrupt, there is very, very high chances the civilian will not be corrupt. Because it's the armed forces that grant protection to the civilian government. So one of the reasons why we have endemic corruption in Nigeria is because our armed forces, the military, the police, and whatnot are all corrupt. And how do we fix this? We are going to be assessing Buhari's government, given that he said in one of his promises, which now Femi Adesina on TV is claiming that it wasn't his promises anymore, that the manifesto now belongs to the party, and that we should not pin it on the president. So now, if Tinubu does not, well, we are hoping that a miracle happens and Peter Obi becomes the Nigerian president, the next president of Nigeria. But then if that doesn't happen and Tinubu becomes the president, what they are in turn telling us is that it is still APC that is promising us whatever was in that 80 books that Tinubu released as his manifesto, which means they are going to be apportioning blames. He said he's not a party man, that he's a minister from the public sector, or from the private sector rather, that he was MD of chief editor of a newspaper or something like that, a media house. So before he was made the special advisor on media to the president. So now, if you look at all his answer, you will see that he's not taking responsibility. All they are doing is shifting the responsibility to one side, to other persons. He was asked about so many other things, and all he does was comparing it with Goodluck Jonathan's time, just giving excuses and excuses. Just the same thing that APC have been doing since the time they took over in 2015, comparing price of fuel then and now, and always giving excuses of why they are not able to achieve not even one of all the things they've promised. Now, in terms of corruption, a lot of animals have been stealing money under Buhari's government. Monkey have been swallowing money, snakes have been swallowing money. We see people who, all of a sudden when they are being probed, they have one illness or the other, or they start limping, or they have bandages, and even those that Senate with someone will refuse to answer to the Senate, which is the legislative body that's supposed to be having oversight. That doesn't happen anywhere except Nigeria. So Nigeria is just a peculiar state when it comes to corruption. A whole legislative arm of government, which is supposed to be up there, will invite a minister or a public servant, and they will refuse to come because even the president refused to obey orders. Court orders are disobeyed under the same Buhari government. And when they do come, you hear things like, I am a city boy, you are a mainland boy, and then things like off the mic, off the mic, off the mic. So where is the fight against corruption? I don't know if these are all the things that Buhari is asking for pardon for, but it's quite shameful. But the point still remains that nobody is bigger than government. There is no way you can be doing anything and government cannot find you and treat you if they want to. But anything that exceeds a particular amount of time and continues occurring is purely because government's hand is in it, or government has a hand in it. So when you look at all the corruption, the finance office catching fire, the former minister making way with billions, over 2 trillion not being accounted for by the former. You see, all these things are purely because there is handshake between the military and the civilian, and there's a sort of partnership in crime, so to speak. So when we look at these things, right, people have been clamoring for democracy. They've left the military rule as if that is the answer. We started by having military people come in as civilian government, and we actually thought probably things would be better. But because of the endemic corruption in Nigerian military, let's just use a case in study. Abacha. Abacha was a military ruler. Abacha was a military ruler. The amount of money Abacha stole it's unquantifiable that no matter how much is being repatriated to Nigeria, they can't even get enough of it. Okay? And we don't know where all these monies go to. The last one, they said they are going to share it among poor Nigerians. We don't know who has received it. If you have received it, please comment. Let's know you've received it. So you see that they just reloot the same money under their own name. So that's why I said all of our politicians and leaders hate the country. They're not patriotic. They don't like Nigeria. We've not seen anybody that like Nigeria. Because from your actions, we know whether you like the country, whether you mean well for the country. You can't mean well for the country and you're looting money and sending it elsewhere to other countries to develop their economy, unless you're just sheer stupid. And we also know there is, foreign influence in all of this, because that's where they always send their monies to, send their children to. But the most important thing here is, what is the best practice when we want to fight corruption? How do we start getting rid of all these corrupt people? Now, we've put our hope in somebody like Buhari. He has failed us. We put our hope in somebody like Yakubu Mahood. He failed us. So what exactly should we do? A lot of people are now choosing military rule. Some people are even saying, let us go back to British colony. Even till date, there are some countries that are still under colonialism, or what they call it a French, for example. There are some parts of Africa that are still under the French government. There are still some islands that are still under the British, even though it's not, in terms of geography, very close to Britain. It's still under the British rule. There are some countries that are still under American rule, Bermuda and the rest of it. And sometimes people are wishing for this kind of thing, because what we are seeing in our civilian rule in Nigeria is too bad. It's an eyesore. Because you can't tell us that you are fighting corruption and yet we are seeing the worst corruption. Buhari has borrowed 63 trillion and we don't know what he has spent that money on. 63 trillion, and we cannot hold anything tangible. And if you talk to them, they will start giving you how they sold 1 barrel of oil for less than 30 naira. Even if you sold it 2 naira, where is the money? Millions of barrels are being drilled a day. 2 point something millions of barrels are being, even if you're selling to 2 naira, that's over 2 million a day. A day. Where is the money going to? And you are still borrowing additional money? What exactly are you using it for? What infrastructure are you building? Yesterday we spoke about power generation and everything. What Nigeria needs most is power. I know how much Obasanjo budgeted for power. I know how much Yaradua budgeted for power. Every government will spend money on power. The power grid, the power grid, the power grid. In this APC government, the power grid has collapsed more. So Buhari did not fight any corruption. How many people have EFCC arrested or tried? We're in a very big hole, and there is no rescue in sight. Because when we thought that somebody is coming to our rescue, that God has sent us an angel in the person of Mr. Peter Obi, Yakubu Mahmoud just trashed our hope, and we are back to square zero. Now everybody is looking up to the judiciary, and from what we are seeing, the Nigerian constitution is so rubbish, so useless, that Nigerian constitution, do you know that you are not allowed to get a job as simple as a carer without your DBS check? If you have a criminal record, you can't do any small work in the UK. You can't work anywhere apart from doing like hard labor jobs, right? You can't work in an office setting, white collar jobs, if you have a criminal record. But then in Nigerian government, you can vie for the position of presidency as far as any crime you've committed is more than 10 years, whether it be murder, whether it be drug trafficking and anything. It's a shame that we have a constitution like that and we have all these people parading as senators. Mind you, they are the most expensive senators and lawmakers in the whole world. In the whole world. Yet we are the poverty capital of the same whole world. So we are a laughing stock. And we are the ones that are putting ourselves in chains and in the deep hole. So it's high time we look at these things and call it, as it is. Our military is very corrupt. Abacha was a military man. He looted so much. Babangida was a military man. People fingers has pointed Babangida. If Tinubu should come today and tell us who he's been running drugs for in America, everywhere we shake. Even the American government will also shake. Because the problem is, you see, I like watching action movies and I like watching intelligent movies and, that's the kind of movies I like watching. And most movies I've watched, not just American movies, I watched different movies of Brazil, Colombia, everything. There is no drug ring that is extremely powerful in a country that does not involve the president or involve very top people in the government, including in America. If government does not have a hand in something, it is easy for police to fight that thing down. But then when you have somebody in government in a ring, and you have somebody in the law enforcement in a ring, then it's easy for them to be getting intel of when they want to be busted, and they are going to be escaping arrest. And those people will even allow them to continue to do their evil acts. And that is what is happening in Nigeria. I don't even want to go in the aspect of security and Boko Haram and kidnapping. I don't want to go there. But when it comes to corruption, the reason is that they are sharing that money. So as far as you are getting, look at what happened when Ngige was summoned. He started insulting people that came to summon him. I'm a city boy. I'm an island boy. You're a mainland boy. But the most interesting thing that happened in that committee that was probing him was that immediately he said, do you want me to start calling names of those that that was running the project? They started telling him, oh, off the mic, it's okay, off the mic. Because most of those contracts are being run by those in the Senate. Companies that are opened by proxies of members of the Senate. So you see that Nigerian corruption is so bad that those that are supposed to be clean people, because they are dubious personalities that have fought their way into power, because they know what they want, to get money, they open proxies, open companies, and be looting contracts, get contracts and be looting money through those contracts. So many of them. Just go and check all the Senate probes. When they were checking the oil theft, one Igbo guy, he has the company, he has the oil company. I was like, an Igbo man has an oil company that was, and they are stealing all this money. The guy was busy covering. See, when you look at all these things, you find out that corruption unites Nigerians. When you understand corruption, when you are a corrupt person, you can easily dine with anybody, Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba, South, anybody that is corrupt, you can easily, and that's why you hear the likes of Oju Zokalo very well accepted in this nonsense incoming whatever that they're doing. Somebody that's already been convicted. What are you doing in public service? What are you doing? How can we be rewarding criminals in Nigeria? And then you have very intelligent people, we have very sound people, we have people that are very literate enough. I don't know whether it's because of the spiritual aspect or the kill or be killed mentality. I don't know what exactly is the problem. But we need to look at the basics of these things and say, if we must deliver a country that is better than what we have enjoyed to our children, we need to start looking at something. We need to start doing something. How can the president of Nigeria have a openly released evidence, drug-related issue, yet it's not a problem, he can still be president? perjury. His name, his address, his alma mater, sorry, not address, his alma mater, his, even his state of origin, everything is controversial. Yet he can still, because the constitution allows it. And then I was listening to the former attorney of the Federation and the Rice say that perjury is not even a ground on petition. So if you go by law, but as far as Nigerian constitution is concerned, there is nothing holding to the book. He can still be president. But morally, should we be saying anything to people that steal, to people that commit all this crime, when somebody that has all this dent or all these things is still allowed to be the president of the country? So what are you going to teach the young people? What are you going to teach the youth? To go to school and study and become civil servant and be doing 9 to 5? Or to go and do what these people have done, be on the streets, make money on the streets, and come back and join politics? So we're in a situation whereby we're in a mess. But I'm looking at today, what should be the best practice? From the movies I've watched, I've noticed that it doesn't take many people. All it takes is one person. But it has to be from the armed forces. It can't be a civilian. The only thing you and I can do is talk. So they know we know what they are doing. Look, and I want to use this opportunity to applaud our media. The likes of Rufai, Sheun, those that run the sunrise morning shows and everything, early morning shows. I watch them and I appreciate them. Very brilliant chaps and ladies. I really appreciate all of them. Doing a good job. The media is trying, even with the heavy scrutiny. They are still trying to make sure that Nigeria does not die away like that. But it's a shame. The only reason why this evil is continuing is that you can't run a civilian government without military. Military is always there. You are changing your governor or your president. Well, military hierarchy is always there. It doesn't change. Their formation, everything is still intact. Their rules different, but intact. Once there is synergy between the military and the civilians, that is when evil starts continuing or deepens. But then the minute the military says no, or the forces say no, you will see the civilian will show. Because they are the ones that stay there with them. They are the ones that they are their ADC, they are their bodyguard, they are their... See, for a governor, and that, what is power? Anybody has power to a particular level. Any wealthy person can possesses a level of power. Power means you can tell people to do something and it's done. You have some level of power. But then for you to go into power as a country, that means you're in control. You're in control of the command, as in you're the commander in chief. So that means the military is under your authority. Technically, that's what it means. Although they are the ones that inform you what to do. If Secret Service tells the president we have to move, he has to move. But then technically, you can tell Secret Service this is where I want to go and they have to follow you. Now, all I'm getting at is, if the military that is with them, the governors and presidents, see the evil that these people are doing and allow it, what can a civilian like me and you do? I don't know how to shoot gun. I don't know any military. I don't have any military training. The best I can do is talk on social media. That is the best I can do. So unless we have the loyalty of military people, the best of the military, unless we have them, we have their loyalty to the country and not to these corrupt people and not to their corrupt leaders, unless we have their loyalty. Because that's what I've seen from all these movies. Even if the number one or number two is part of that ring, and you have a very sane, very fine soldier or very fine investigative detective, that is with the people, that his loyalty is with the country, he can still find a way. Even if he's asked out of office, he will still find a way to first of all bust his orga and then bust the ring. And I've seen it, they can even bust up to the president if the president is involved. Because presidency it's not a permanent seat, it rotates every so often, depending on the tenure in different countries. So the role of the armed forces cannot be overemphasized. I keep saying, the problem of Nigeria is our police and our military and our forces, our force men. We don't have good people in this our armed forces. If we have good people that want to do good things, I'm telling you, I kid you not, a lot of nonsense that is going on. Say, for example, let's take this 25th election as an example. MC Olomo made an utterance against Igbos in Lagos. A policeman was standing there. What did he do? Nothing. He allowed it. He's the law. The police is the law. It's as simple as that. When you see the police, that's the law. If the police knocks your door, the law comes knocking. So if the policeman cannot enforce a law, what can civilians do? Our rights, our everything is protected by the police. The problem is that these are police, either they don't even understand what they are doing or where their loyalty lies, because they are being told to obey the last order. Oga above, or obey the Oga at the top. So some of them don't even understand where their loyalty should lie. And some of them are looking for promotions. Now, most times when these evil men, these corrupt men want to do things, they don't come to the guys at the lower level. They go to the top ranking people, the abacaries. They go to the main this thing. How many IGPs has been changed by Buhari, but he's still getting it wrong? So either the whole police is corrupt that Buhari cannot even find a single just man, or he's going for the wrong people. But we need to have a way, even if you have to secretly do a survey and ask police people to vote who is the most clean person with integrity in the police force and make him the IGP. Because when good men are in power, you see, the Bible says that righteousness exalts the nation, but sin is a reproach. Once we get righteous people in power, then things can start moving for good. I kid you not, corruption will continue in Nigeria until our first men say enough is enough. And the feeling on ground now is that a lot of people now prefer the military rule self to what is happening, because what exactly do we have? How can we say civilian rule is better when under civilian rule our votes are being rubbished, we are being disenfranchised? Yakubu Mahmoud said publicly that he delayed deployment in the southeast, where P2B has a lot of numbers. You calculate votes, and then you're supposed to be winning by 1 million. INEC can announce 500,000. Reason for annulment of the other 500,000, they will say violence, overvoting, no proof, no scrutiny, no review, just like that. Everybody has to accept. So when 200 million people vote, one person has the power to decide whether to accept or not. So we're in a shame of a situation and country. I've been asking myself a lot of questions. What if Yakubu Mahmoud was under duress? Because these people, they can do anything for power. What if they held his children, what do you call it? Kidnapped his children, and they are being told, oh, you have to call this man as a president, otherwise we'll kill him or kill them. Yes, I've seen that happen in movies, right? They can force good men to do bad things of their own interest just because they want to achieve something. And they can go at any length, even if it means threatening your family. So what if any of these, what if some people rejected money? And then the other popular theory that, of course, 200 billion was paid to him. I don't know how true that is in Swiss bank. Now, we have to look at this. What is the hope of a common man? Me and you cannot shoot gun. If we fight, you see what happened in Lekito Gate. Once they receive that their order, they will shoot. Military is like two. They are like hammer. They don't get sense. Once they tell them knock, they knock. Once they say them open fire, they go open fire. Military soldiers, as good as they are, as much as I like them, soldiers are like two. They don't have a sense of their own. But we need fine soldiers that can investigate, challenge authorities, and we know a few of them have done it. There was one that did it. He was sent, and I think he was part of those that are fighting the terrorists in Sambisa, and then he accused his superiors, and he got removed from the military. Those can happen. But if we have multiple of those good people fighting the system, then we can get, because that theory of if you cannot beat them, join them, is why there's a lot of multiple evil people in the system. And before you know it, it becomes endemic, it becomes a bacteria, it becomes a virus. If our armed forces cannot do good, and I want to commend the police PRO, or the guy that's handling the social media, we know now that once there is a video of police brutality, the next thing they are being arraigned or arrested or sent to orderly for investigation, and the pictures will come out. So I want to commend the police, they are doing well in that aspect. But we need more of these things, and especially against corrupt people. EFCC, I don't understand what EFCC is for. I think their purpose have been defeated. Because with all the corruption we've seen, and the worst part with EFCC is that they were asked sometime, this is how the process works in Nigeria. A politician is being investigated, suspected, allegations are made, seizures are made, they seize properties. Do you know what the highest EFCC can do? They probably seal those properties, start going to court. Court processes can take years. Even after conviction, and those people they've arrested, gone to court, they can receive presidential pardon, like Ojo Zagalo. Now, apart from that, it has to get to a point that they receive court order before they can sell out those properties to make back the money, the financial value of what they've looted. So say for example, if somebody has stolen 2 billion or billions of money like Desiani, if they're not able to recover properties from her, that money don't go. Otilo. So our laws, our constitution is weak to fight corruption. Even the police, their hands are tied. In other Senate climes, the police have their own lawyers and they have their own very expedite processes. When somebody is corrupt in China, bam, they don't kill the person, no. Immediately. In Japan, you know, so people don't understand how bad corruption is. That's why the former Prime Minister of UK said that Nigeria and Afghanistan are very fantastically corrupt countries. Fantastically. That's why you know that Nigerians are very intelligent. That's why you see very intelligent people come out on TV protecting mere criminals, drug lords, soiling their name because of loyalty. The likes of Fashola, Festus Keyamo, what call them? Sorry, not Femi Adesina. What's the name of this guy? FFK. Uselessing their names, their families' names with nonsense because of what? Money. Until and unless we have people that will say no to money and they want to stand on justice and want to stand on the people's mandate and want to stand on what is right, we will be bamboozled by what? Evil, corrupt people. And there is more to steal. Because there will still be governments that want to borrow them money. China has said no. They got money from World Bank. And we are 8 trillion. Foreign reserve depleted. What exactly is going to generate those revenue? From June, subsidy will go. Once it goes, fuel price will skyrocket. I pity Nigerians. I really do pity Nigerians. I really, really do pity Nigerians. A lot of people have jabad. If you have means of jabad, just jabad. Even Femi Adesina Toka say he advised people that if they have means of going, they should leave the country. A whole president talk say he don't tire, say he can't wait to leave office. You guys have to understand. Everybody surrounding him are corrupt. Everybody wants to steal money. You turn police, corruption. You turn to army, corruption. You turn to air force, corruption. You turn to navy, corruption. How can somebody enter our waters and be stealing all you? No be navy. Navy not gonna give you clearance. So we're in deep, you know, we're in deep hole in Nigeria. So that is the role of our armed forces. Because our armed forces are deeply corrupt, they are shaking hands with the civilian government or the civilian people in power. That is why this endemic has lasted. I'm going to stop here. I hope this, please, if you have anybody in power, send these things to them. And let's hope and pray that we can manage to get fine people in power. I don't even want to talk about Burutai. Burutai, can you imagine Buhari made him have immunity by sending him as a, what do you call it, to become an ambassador, just for him to have immunity. And there's likelihood that if Tinubu is sworn in, he probably can give Yakubu another job that will grant him immunity or whatever. So it's like evil gets reward in Nigeria, and good people, of course, get the backhand. And how do we build a sustainable society like that? I pray that God helps us. But with that armed forces rising up to the call, trust me, there is nothing a common man can do, and corruption shall continue to abound. But I pray that God, who sent us Peter Obi, will send more like him in the military, in the police, that will remind them that their loyalty lies with the people and not with these criminal elements that they are protecting. Thank you and God bless you. Till next time. I promise Oderon. Please like, watch, share, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow my page. Thank you so much.